Hey everyone. Today my guest is Casey Smith. He is a local celebrity, I would say. I think you can use the word celebrity. He is a host on the local radio station in the mornings and super interesting guy. He came in and we talked about all sorts of things. We started somewhere in the neighborhood of growing up and looking at the world differently, sprinkling a little politics, and then we headed off and spent a fair amount of time on the flat earth theory. Are we living on a flat earth? Really enjoy talking to this guy. Super smart guy, articulate, and super fun to talk to. Hope everybody enjoys this. So enjoy.
Enjoy the podcast.
And we're going. Hello, Casey.
Hey.
Guest today is Casey. He's in local. Geez, you have all sorts of stuff going on, actually.
I do. I host the morning show on 100.1 The Hero in Bradford. Musician, volunteer,
All over the place.
all over the place. Yeah, anything I can get my fingers into,
You're
it
in.
keeps me young.
What's kind of funny about the radio show, or your radio station, I was just thinking the other day, that station was always, when I was a kid, the one my mom and dad listened to.
Right.
Because it was the oldies station there for a while. And I was plowing out here the other day and I had it on. And I was like, it's hard to believe this place used to be the oldies station. And it was playing Nirvana or Metallica
Right. Yeah.
or
Now
something.
we're playing like Five Finger Death Punch
Right.
and nothing more.
Well,
And
then I was like, wait a minute. This shit's like 30 years old.
yeah.
Like, it is
Some
the
of
old-
it. Actually, yeah, like Motley Crue now is considered classic rock.
Right.
Like, how the hell does that happen? Actually, the Hero, it used to stand for High Energy Rock and Oldies. That's how the whole Hero thing came about. And when the general manager told me that, I just was kind of like, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Awkward.
But what's weird is now they're oldies. Like
They are.
Motley Crue is oldies.
Yeah. Even like Alanis Morissette, like a song like You Ought to Know that was a huge hit, is considered, it's an oldie now.
Right.
All things considered, because so much new music is constantly coming out and constantly cycling. You got bands like I Prevail and Through Fire and Red Sun Rising, which is our boy Dave McGarry, local
Right.
guy.
And those guys are just killing it.
They're killing it. Yeah, they actually their new single Death Wish came on 2 weeks ago at number 29, and when I pulled the charts this morning, they're at like number 20. And they're just like slamming up the charts. It's going to go right to number 1, I think.
That's
within
awesome.
6 weeks.
How long have those guys been together?
There's been a few versions of Ren Sun Rising. They've probably been together, like, I think the singer and the one guitar player have been together probably 8 years.
Really?
Yeah.
And are those guys completely local? Or are
No,
they...
they're from, the band's based out of Toledo. And then Dave, of course, lives right here in Bradford. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure where, I want to say their bass player lives in Chicago, and their drummer, Pat, he's kind of a nomad, actually.
Really?
But, he lived in California for a while. He lived in North Carolina for a while, which is how him and Dave met, which eventually led to Dave getting into Red Sun Rising. So, yeah, they're kind of spread out, but they base out of Toledo. That's where, like, they do all
Okay.
their rehearsing and stuff like that.
Because I kind of knew Dave. I don't know him, but I knew him from around.
Right.
And then the band came about, and I'm like, I don't remember ever hearing this band being a local, like, Bradford band. And then they're blown up.
Yeah, and they actually they had off their last record, Polyester Zeal, they had 2 number 1s, which has never been done before from a band on an independent label, and they're on the same label with like the Pretty Reckless and some other bands like that. But 2 number 1 singles off from an independent label it's never been done before. So those guys broke new ground. It's really, really cool.
Right. And they're touring now and everything?
Yeah, they're getting ready to go out next week with Stone Sour for a few shows.
Really?
And then they're going to, of course, do the festivals and all that stuff. They just
Right.
did, what do they call it? Oh my gosh, it's like a rock cruise. I forget what the heck they
Like
call it.
on a boat?
Yeah,
Like,
they went
really?
to like the Caribbean or something.
Really?
A couple of weeks ago, yeah, and like Seether, POD, all these bands,
That's cool.
do it, yeah. Shiprock, that's what it's called.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Shiprock. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm real happy for him.
I don't know if that would sounds like the most fun ever or the worst time ever.
I guess it depends how much you drink.
Right.
And that's kind of how,
Sounds like a-
that's like you and I are a lot alike like that. That's how we'll gauge things. Like,
Right.
well, this could be a lot of fun unless I have one drink too many.
Right. Then I'm trapped.
And then it could suck. It could suck really, really bad.
I've been on a few cruises and it's fun for like the first day or two.
Yeah.
And then after that you're like, I need off of this.
See, I have some control issues. So I don't know. And then, of course, there's movies like The Poseidon Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And for those youngsters that don't know what The Poseidon Adventure was, this boat gets hit by a wave, gets flipped upside down, everybody's screwed. And they have to crawl from the top of the boat to the bottom of the boat, which is now the top of the boat. And if that was going to happen, it would happen while I was on the boat.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, because that's just my luck.
Yeah, the other goofy thing about those things is you just get tired of seeing the same people all week too. Hang on one second here. Got something popping up. There we go. It's like Groundhog Day every day. You wake up, the same people come bring your food. You see the same neighbors. Like, it's worse than like living in the same neighborhood and kind of see. It's just like everybody gets up at the same time. This guy passes through at the same time. It makes me insane.
See, I don't know that I could. I don't know that I could do a cruise because when I'm on vacation, I don't have an itinerary. Mm-hmm. If I don't want to do anything, if I want to sit at the beach bar and get plowed, then that's what I'm going to do that day.
Right.
And watch the world go by and listen to the ocean. If I want to go out and do things, then I'll go out and do things, But it just seems like it's kind of a structured. Is it as structured as I think it is?
Yeah, because you have a sort of daily itinerary. So we're leaving port on Monday, and Tuesday's a day at sea, which you can kind of wander around the boat and do whatever you want. Then Wednesday we're pulling into this port, and all the ports on those, especially the Gulf of Mexico type cruises, you land in these little ports. And it's like this, not to use a Trump word, giant shithole of a city that has a wall built around the port that's beautiful inside there.
But don't leave it.
Yeah, there's dudes with machine guns standing at these big gates. Like, you don't go out there.
I had a sales rep that used to take his family. Santa Marguerite was the place. It was an island, and he says you fly into it, and you're flying. Whoop! You drop down, you land. You go on to this compound of sorts. And there's guard towers.
Oh, yeah.
And machine guns. But inside, you sleep in these cabanas right by the
Beautiful,
ocean.
yeah.
But there's gunboats out and helicopters and all kinds of stuff. And you're just like, damn.
Yeah, you get down into Mexico at some of those resorts down there. So like Cozumel and a few of those other places. You'll drive, like the airport's on the other side of the Badlands, for lack of a better term. And you drive on a bus from the airport to where all the resorts are. And you're passing like pickup trucks full of machine gun guys riding around on the streets, and they're army guys. It's not like bad guys, and I've never seen anything bad happen, and it looks a little shady, but whatever. But when you get to where all the resorts are, they're on this. You go through this big gate, and they're all on this great big long street that you have to can only get in from that gate. You can go in past the security checkpoint, and then they're all behind this wall and fence.
So like a glamorous prison.
Yes. And
crazy.
Just on the other side of that is Lord knows what. It's,
Wow.
it's
See,
crazy.
Is there a casino on the boat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And there's booze.
Mm-hmm.
And there's food.
Yes.
I might could pull it off.
It's not terrible. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing in the world, but we did like 3 or 4 of them. And like by the second or third time, I'm like, all right, I've had enough of this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather do anything else.
I'm not an outdoors guy, but I would like to take the Alaskan cruise.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would like to see Alaska.
That's pretty dope.
I enjoy wilderness from windows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that like get out in the woods and shoot at things and
Right.
that guy hike and all that stuff because I'm afraid I'm going to get bit by a tick and get Lyme disease.
You probably already have it living here.
Thanks.
To be honest.
No, that's comforting.
That's probably true.
Wow. Now I'm going to have to call my doctor.
Right.
Thanks, Joan. I appreciate that.
Well, the other bad thing about the cruise is if you do like to look at scenery, after like the first day when you're out to sea, there's literally nothing to look at. So you're looking off the boat and it's just water as far as you can see.
Does it make you have to piss all the time?
No, it didn't me.
And what about the rocking of the boat?
It can get bad sometimes.
Yeah. See, I lived on a tour bus for 4 years, and I never got better sleep than I got when I was on the bus.
Just that hum.
The hum and the bunks were facing front to back, of course, So you're with the bounce of the road, you're almost getting rocked to sleep,
Right.
when you're sleeping. And it could be, the amount of alcohol too that really helps you get to sleep.
Definitely
too.
does. We
But
we were on one that was going through a storm or whatever, and it got pretty rough. It wasn't like YouTube video crazy rough,
right.
but we were downstairs and the cruise we were on, we were there for a meeting, and the meeting was going on during the day. So you're in one of the lower levels and you're just looking out windows, and while you're sitting there, like your drink is sliding back and forth on the table, and you turn and look out the window and you'll see sky, nothing but sky, nothing but water. Nothing
I
but
don't
sky.
think I like that.
Nothing but water.
And-
And that was a little sketchy.
Okay, so explain to me, because my best friend, bass player, just got back from Jamaica for air quotes work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, clearly I'm in the wrong business, because if you're getting to go on a cruise for a meeting for work, and he's getting to go to Jamaica for work,
Right.
I get a Fromwich from John Williams once a month from work, which is cool,
That's
and I'm grateful for that.
Right. What we get to go on every once in a while is, so we'll have distributors or manufacturers that we buy from. And if they're set up different ways, but if you make it to a certain level of sales, if you're the top 10, 20, 50, and they'll take a bunch of people down there. And what they do, the dirty little secret of all this is, they'll take like 20, so let's just say a distributor takes you. They'll take 20 manufacturers and they'll make each manufacturer kick in like 15, 20 grand or whatever it is to help pay for the trip. And then when you're down there, you have all your A-team movers of your product down there captured in one place.
So it's like one of those timeshare pitches.
Sort of, but what's good about it is it gives you a chance that you probably never would have to build relationships with those manufacturer people.
Like getting one-on-one with them is cool.
Right. So, and it's a vacation for everybody. So I think they just start working it into their marketing budget.
Right.
We could spend 15 more grand on magazine ads or something this year, or we can go make friends with these 25 companies that probably move 80% of our product. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. And so it's a couple hours of meetings, and then you're free to do what you want.
it depends. There's a few different ones. It just depends on the company. Though they have to for tax purposes make it training.
Yeah.
So you have to have a few days of training, and usually every company gives a presentation, and there might be a question and answer, but it's some of the time, but not all the time.
That's cool.
You're there 4 hours a day or something like that. It's not bad at all. It's
That's fun.
pretty reasonable. So
Well, now I know what my career after radio is going to be. I'm going to come work here
All
at
right.
the little power shop.
you just have to sell, baby.
I'll sell, and then I'll get to go on cruises there. Now I'm dialed in now. I'm focused now.
I see them for everything though. I've seen people that sell like that Herbalife stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
I've seen
Amway does them. I mean, yeah.
Everybody does it.
Yeah, my buddy runs a plumbing business,
Mm-hmm.
and his was from one of his suppliers.
Right.
It was you get so many. It's almost like frequent flyer miles,
Right,
depending
exactly.
on how much stuff you buy. And yeah, him and his wife just went to Jamaica for a week. I was like, I'm sitting here freezing my sack off, and
Right.
he's sending me pictures, from the pool bar. I'm like, okay, F you, man. Thanks.
right.
Appreciate that.
We usually go, every time we go, they're always like in January.
Yeah.
It's that same kind of deal, so it's kind of nice. But the only thing that doesn't work for me on those is I'm from this area my whole entire life. So like 50, 60 degrees for me is like nice.
Yeah.
And then you go down there and it's 80, 90, and I
Yeah.
practically die.
See, being from the West, I've been in like 105 degree, but it's dry heat, and I know people say, oh, it's different, and it is really different. Humidity versus dry heat is totally different. So I mean, I can take the heat if I could find somewhere where it was like 75 degrees year round with a nice breeze. That's where I would go.
Be perfect.
And when I find that place, I will let you know.
You know where I think it is? I'm fairly certain that you get down into the Tennessee range.
I thought you were
of
going to
things.
say Narnia.
No. I got a buddy that lives down in Tennessee, and it gets a little cold in the winter.
Yeah.
Like if it gets down to 30 there, that's like it's killing them. Like it's super cold. But
the orthopedic doctor that used to be at Bradford Hospital, Dr. King Karts, who amazing ortho guy, put my ankle back together. I think this guy's amazing. He took a position in Shreveport, and him and his new wife Taryn moved, obviously moved to Shreveport, and I see a picture on Facebook, and I had just seen him a week prior. They were up for New Year's, and they were talking. Jason was saying, "Oh man, this snow, this is shit. I'm out of here, man." And they get home, and there's a picture of him in the backyard next to the pool, doing something with the pool, and there's snow on the ground. Tee hee, jerko.
That. Yeah, take that.
Yep, absolutely. So really quick, listen, I just want to get, and I'm sure this is something that you and I share, okay? Just so everybody knows, I'm not from around here, and people don't know a lot about me, but I'll just put it simply. I love my family, I love my country, and I love my guns, and that's the way it is. And that's me in a nutshell. Well, so I just kind of wanted to get that out there.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Necessarily.
Well, in the social climate that we're in right now, I think some people from the other side of the aisle may take offense to that, but
is it that many? This is what I'm trying to get my head around in today's climate of all that. Is there really that many people that are really offended on either side, or is it just this really loud minority who is just going off about everything? Like, for example, did you see a couple weeks ago that the Women's March, that they were claiming, strap-in kids, that the pussy hats are now racist and degrading?
But they were just wearing them a year ago.
Do you know why? Because, get ready.
I'm ready. I'm sitting down.
Those hats aren't the same color as every girl's vagina if you were another ethnic background.
So people of color have to wear brown vagina hats and black vagina hats
guess.
And yellow vagina hats. And
if everybody just has pink ones, that's obviously racist. And I'm just sitting there like, all right, I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out. They're just mad at their own hats now.
Yeah. I've taken the position of not to get too deep in this because we have something really, really cool going on, but I've taken the position of a non-party. I'm an American.
Right.
And that's where I stand. And fuck your party lines. Let's get together as a country.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like we have these groups that are way out on either side, and everybody else is kind of in the middle going, I don't know.
Yeah, and if those fringe groups, I think, would take a step toward each other.
Right.
If they both take a step, they're a step closer to each other.
And it just seems like it's all going to shake out eventually, but we're just going through some nutty times right now.
Absolutely.
It's so weird.
It's it's like the social climate. I liken the social climate to Philadelphia. They win a championship, they burn cars. They lose a championship, they burn cars. Right. That's our social climate. We have the social climate of a Philadelphia sports fan, and I'm a huge Philly sports fan. Mm-hmm. I love the Eagles, I love the Flyers, and that's what that's my conclusion. That's where we are.
And it just the riot thing riot/celebration thing, I can't get my head around. I guess if you were there, it might be a different thing, but
I guess you get caught up in it. But when they went to the NFC Championship game, I saw a video, a news clip of city workers putting Crisco on the light poles, so these knuckleheads don't climb the light poles.
Right.
So this time they just tore them down.
Yeah.
They didn't bother climbing them. We'll bring the mountain to Mohammed.
We'll take those down. Well, it just seems, the other thing that's weird is it seems like no matter what, especially in this climate, what you're into, there's going to be a group of people who are going along with it. You can just come up with the nuttiest shit in the world.
Yeah.
And there's a group of people, and somehow this catches traction because it also seems like it's almost like taboo to question anybody about anything anymore.
I just read an article last week. The state of Washington is considering having X as a gender on birth certificates. So you do not have to assign a gender to your child.
What?
They're actually considering this, putting this in law in the state of Washington.
And if you were to say, hey, that's bananas.
You're
obviously,
racist.
Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah.
How insensitive.
How insensitive can you be to assign, how dare you assign a child a gender? Listen, if you have a ding-ding, you're a boy. If you have a vagina, you're a girl.
Right.
It's science. That's the way we're built.
Plain and simple. But and it's science, unless we can use this, it doesn't count, unless we can use the science that somehow backs up that you're not. That's what I always get confused about. So you have the gender people, who say you can't assign the gender to the kid until they decide what it is. And you're like, but science says there's a male and a female. And they're like, no. absolutely wrong. But any article that might come out from some study that says you really can't decide what gender you are until you're 15 or whatever age, then they'll quote that science and go,
Yeah.
well, obviously science it says, and then all of a sudden you're like,
There's a guy I listen to.
bananas.
His name is Andrew Wilkow, and he's on Sirius XM, and he calls it the history of now, and where they're just rewriting things to suit whatever the hot topic is that's on the tip of everybody's tongue. Letting your child decide their own gender is a lot of pressure, and kids should just be kids, first of all. B, I'm very, very tolerant to alternate lifestyles, okay? My theory is the world is a very dark and it's an ugly place, and it's hate-filled. Mm-hmm. If you can find happiness, you should go with it. Be it if you want to be with a man or if you want to be with a woman, whatever the case may be, just be happy.
Right.
Just do your thing. If you're going to get a sex change, you want to be a woman,
Whatever,
finish the
dude.
job. You're
Right.
a woman. Bippity boppity.
Go ahead.
But don't give me this horse shit that you want. You're entitled to something because of this or because of that.
Right.
Like I don't subscribe to it.
The other thing that's weird about that is, if you were 5 and you came to your parents and said, "Hey, Mom, I want to get a tattoo on my face," your mom would be like, "Why don't we pump the brakes a little bit?
Yeah.
Why don't you wait till you're a little older, till you're 18
play
or
with your
something
magic
like
markers,
that? Yeah,
Billy.
like maybe you don't. That's going to be a lifelong thing. You're probably not thinking this through the whole way, but." If in this climate, if you're 5 and you come up to your mom and say, "Mom, I really think that I'm a girl." All right, well, let's get some puberty blockers. Let's get you on some medications. You're just like, wait, what?
Yeah, I think
like,
I would. Well,
you
you want your kids to be happy. That's what you want for your
Right.
children.
But so I equate this to if you come to your mom and say, "Mom, I'm pretty sure I want to be a fireman." Great, dress like a fucking fireman every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And then either you become a fireman when you grow up or you don't, but you're not hurting anything by just dressing like a fireman.
If little Billy comes up and says, "Mom, I want to lop my junk off and be a girl,"
wait, let's pump the brakes,
yeah,
Billy.
well, that's okay. So to me, that's a hard edge right there. That's a hard limit right there. If you're an adult and you make that decision, that's
Whatever.
you're an adult.
Right.
You make the choice. There's consequences that come with the choice, but you've made that choice and you live with those consequences.
Right.
That's part of being a grown-up.
Right. But as a kid, I think about things that I decided when I was like 20 that were so misguided and just
We were absurd.
dumb. Just dumb looking back and go, wow. I think of things I did 2 years ago and I was just like,
Well, as you know, I'm a firm believer that as a male, your head is thoroughly lodged up your own ass until you're at least 30.
right.
At the very least 30.
Easy.
Yeah. And that's being generous.
Right.
Thinking that it might pop out at 30, You're a train wreck. You're a hot mess.
Yeah.
Until
Until you have enough life experience to kind of.
Yeah. Now granted, there's kids that are going overseas and fighting for our country and God bless everything they do. And they're going their kids and coming back men. Mm-hmm. I think so. There's an exception to every rule.
But I still think they're dealing with that same. Them having to do that is just a matter of we have to send the youngest, most able people to fight, period. But I think if you could send a 40-year-old or a 30 or a 60-year-old man into war,
Things might be a little different.
they
might
would
be
do
like,
things completely differently.
We're adversaries. Look,
Let's work this out.
I'm
Yeah.
too old to be rolling around on the ground with your ass.
Right.
We'll start there. I'm old and out of breath. I got about 90 seconds of good fight left in me. After 90 seconds, we're both out of breath. What's the point?
Is there any way we can talk this out?
Yeah, let's just work it out, man. Let's have a drink. Maybe have a sandwich. Many a dispute have been settled over food and drink.
Right. And how many people do you know that and this is one of the things that I learned as I get older, how many people you grew up or you were around, especially in a small town, where you're like, I really don't like that guy. And usually you don't have any reason to not like them other than when you were 18, somebody said, oh, Bob's a dickhead.
Right.
And you're like, oh, whatever. And then sometime farther in your life, you'll be sitting somewhere and you end up having a conversation with Bob, the dickhead, and you're like, I like this guy.
Hey, Bob's not a dick.
He's
Why
all
did I
right.
listen? Maybe you're the dickhead.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't Bob.
Or maybe Bob was a dickhead 10 years ago and he was like, oh, I don't want to be a dickhead anymore.
You know what? I used to be a dickhead.
I think everybody
Self-admitted,
was.
I'm a recovering dickhead. I'm Casey and I'm a recovering dickhead. Welcome to the group.
Very true.
It's crazy, man. And we get older, and things that mattered when we were in our 20s don't matter anymore. You know, you have kids, and it goes from when you're single going, I'm going to go out with my boys and whatever happens. You know, when I lived in LA growing up there, being close to Vegas and Laughlin, Nevada, which is like a mini Las Vegas, you know, on a Friday afternoon, we decide, you know what, we're going to Laughlin for the weekend. And then you have a kid, and then you get married, and then you have a business like you and your lovely wife have. And then at the end of the day, it's, I want to get home and see my kid.
Right.
I want to get home and I want to hug my wife. I want to sit in my chair and enjoy what I have, what I work my ass off for every single day.
And one of the things that as you go through that is you look at life just more backwards, because you used to look at it forwards. So when you were 20, you would see somebody that does something in life that either you wanted or didn't want to do, and you'd look at it and be like, that's what I want. And then when you finally get to some of those things and you live them, or you see other friends or people like that person you were looking at that's 15, 20 years older than you, and you're starting to get into the life now where you're like, that didn't turn out so good for him.
Yeah.
Like that lifestyle or that,
absolutely.
You know what I mean, path.
You realize, I think, and sometimes it's through a series of events, sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Right.
But you realize, this is what I've come to the conclusion, that I don't take a single breath of air for granted, because life is precious. Very, very precious. I just had a very dear friend lose his son. And I've lost a child. And you look at things differently, and you go, you know what? You go around one time. So you make it count. And do the things that make you happy. Don't, you know, I come from a Catholic upbringing, okay? Very Catholic, to say the least. And I've come to the conclusion that the Buddhists got it going on.
Yes, they do.
Their thing is, look, you go through life, you do the best you can, you try not to hurt people. And what that comes to terms that guys like you and I can totally relate to, it's simple, 4 simple words. Don't be a dick.
Right.
Don't be a dick. And you'll live a happy, prosperous life.
Just try and do good things.
Yeah, just don't be a dick. It's easier. It's almost like you have to go out of your way to be a dick.
Right.
So why do it? You don't get that time back.
No.
Yeah, you know.
No, and what's really crazy to me is, especially in our community, you get to see a lot of different people and kind of how their lives play out. And the amount of people, I feel like it's a pretty good split here, but the amount of people who are quote unquote living a normal life, get up every day, go to work, have 2.5 kids, and go take them to school and do soccer, that are happy or unhappy with that existence is pretty close to even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there's some people that just love that they get up every day, and then the other half is, this job sucks, they don't pay me enough, I'm stuck here in Bradford, this place sucks,
You're not
it's snowing
stuck
again.
anywhere, first of all.
And it's just so weird. You could have 2 almost identical families living the almost identical life, and you talk to those 2 guys and they have completely different, they're on 2 ends of the spectrum on what that life is providing them, you know?
As a guy I've had a few brushes with death, some medical and some stupid. Every day I put my feet on the carpet in the morning, I'm like, cool.
Right.
All right, I get another shot today. If today sucks, tomorrow it's like a reboot. It's like you get another chance, you know? It's what you do with it. If you really don't want to be here, I mean, it's harder if you have a family and mortgage.
Right.
You're locked into a job. Like, let's say you've been at a job 15 years. You've got 6 weeks of vacation.
Right.
They're paying you a pretty fair wage. It's hard to walk away from that and go somewhere in your 40s and start over.
Right.
You know, like, how do you do that? Like, how would you just pick up and pick up your wife and your daughter and just go and say, okay, we're going to plop here and start over?
It'd be really hard.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think that I was just telling a friend, I think yesterday about this. One of the things that I've found is you can't have all your eggs in one basket.
True.
Emotionally. So I find that I get myself into this place where my emotions live or die on the business. So if we have a good day of sales, I go home, pew, 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 happy. If we have a bad day of sales, I'm down in the dumps.
Right.
And what I start to realize, and I've noticed other people, as I started to realize this and I look at other people doing it, if you have all your eggs in the basket of work, my identity is my work. You live or die on whether that day was good or bad. So I've started trying, like the podcast is one of these things.
Right.
Where I can look forward, no matter how bad today was, work-wise, if something went wrong or whatever, I'm looking forward to, oh, cool, Casey's coming in tonight. We're going to do a podcast. Hopefully it's good. And
Yeah,
it gives you like
absolutely.
another thing.
And see, I'm blessed in that I get to do that every morning with my job. Every morning it's something different. Every morning it's talking about a new issue or something stupid, or so and in the same vein, you go, okay, today sucked, but I have tomorrow, or I have later on. Like maybe I have band rehearsal. Everybody needs something outside of what they do to
Offset the
stimulate
good and
them.
bad, yeah. So at the end of the day, you can look back and go, well, today was really a tough day at work, but we had a really good podcast. Or
Yeah.
today was a shitty day at work, but the band tonight just slayed it.
Yeah, like we were on tonight. Like we were
Yeah.
firing on all cylinders tonight.
And then you have something else to balance that out instead of just work is good or bad,
Yeah.
or the kids were good or bad today.
Or
Like
the wife is good or bad, or the husband
Right.
is good or bad. You can't be a person's sole source of entertainment. You have things you do. Pam has things that she does.
Right.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons that your marriage works. I mean, okay, so I'm a divorced guy, no big secret, so I'm probably not the authority on what makes a marriage work, but I do believe that having things that you do aside from your marriage, having friends that you hang out with, or something that you do, or something that she does, I think it's important.
I think the other problem with marriage overall is it is really hard to go through life over decades and keep the same interests. So,
True.
like, I know, my wife and I got married very young. I know I'm in a completely different place than I was when I was, 21 or 22,
Right.
whenever we got married there. And
Yeah,
same with her.
whenever we got
yeah,
married.
way back then. Back when Nirvana was in,
Yeah, right. You were wearing flannel shirt
Right,
and,
right.
and flannel long johns under your ripped jeans.
That's right. And that's so weird and that's what I was saying. Like, if you were going to lay your entire emotion on whether your marriage is perfect or not, or good or bad every day, again, you're setting yourself up for, like, it needs to just be a component, because some days it's going to suck and some days it's going to be good, and
Yeah, absolutely.
hopefully
Peaks and valleys.
No,
I
yeah.
mean, my parents have been married for, forever. I don't even know how long they've been married. And, my father's 83. My mother's in her, I want to say she's 75.
I was really hoping you'd say she was like 45 or something like that.
My pops is a stud, though. I mean, he did go for a younger woman, though, so I'm going to give him that, But, but they've managed to make it work through good and bad, and through financial troubles and hardships and but I hate to say this, but I'm almost of the opinion now that marriage should be on a 5 to 10 year contract.
And maybe not, it doesn't end at 5 years, but you renegotiate.
Yes,
You sit down and
absolutely.
go, all right, look, here's all the shit that I wanted to bring up, but I didn't want to have a fight for 2 weeks about it.
Right.
And if this, I need this, I need this. All right, you need that. All right, I can do that. I can do this.
Right.
All right.
And if
So-
there's one thing that I've learned through marriage and through divorce, is that you got to communicate. That's the key, man. And that's with anything, though. You have communication with your employees. They know what's going on in the shop. They know what needs to get done. You say, okay, guys, we got this truck, and this truck. Tune, exhaust, whatever, lift kit. And you communicate with them. They know what's expected and what they need to do. And they communicate with you, okay, John, well, look, we're having trouble. Why isn't this done? Well, we're having trouble with the exhaust manifold.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not a car guy, but it's communication, and being in a band is the same way. It's another, it's almost like being married. I'm married to 4 other people.
The band stuff always fascinates me. Like, I love music, but I have as much musical talent as, this table. But I've watched the band thing go on for a long time, and I always get a kick out of you take all these little personalities that are huge personalities, and then you try and stick them together, and
Yeah.
you have to have a certain personality to just get up in front of people to do that anyways. You have to,
You have an ego. You're,
Yeah,
you know,
you
it's
know what I
something that you're born with.
and I don't think having an ego is a bad thing, but all of a sudden you have 5 people that are out and willing to do that, and then trying to get all that to mesh seems like, whew.
And then put these 5 people and 2 crew guys on a bus, and start traveling around and living in a 40-foot bus together.
Oof.
With farts and dirty socks and you sucked last night. Why didn't you hit that? Why didn't you
Right.
hit that brake? You're an asshole, and I'm sick of being on this goddamn bus with you. And
Right.
you
And it seems what's even harder, I would think, when a band, especially being on tour, is I just see the way the people I work with, if they're having something going on in their life, whether a family member's sick, they're having spouse problems, pick something, how much it affects their work. I mean, it's gigantic.
And you should, realistically, in a perfect world, you leave it in the truck when you get to work. But it does come in. It does come into work. It's inevitable. You can't avoid it.
And it has to be the same thing with a band, especially if you're on tour. Like, there's so many external forces, good and bad, that exert pressure on.
Perfect example, Dave right now, he's having great success with Red Sun Rising. He's watching his daughter grow up via FaceTime.
Right.
Which is rough.
Right.
That's got to be a killer for him.
And at the end of the day, you're just hoping that trade-off was worth it in the end. Like, I'm doing some greater good, or
for her future.
Right.
That's what you're hoping for. And when you come to work, you're hoping to build a future for your daughter, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. You guys work your ass off.
Right.
And
so, it's all a trade-off.
But and just like a band, like when you bring a truck in here, and let's say you're tuning it, you're exhausting it, you're lifting it, you're tricking it out, and that truck rolls out and it's just nines, man. It's nines, and you're just like, yeah, we did that. Yep. What's up?
Right.
And that's where your ego is when you have a straight 10 that rolls out of the shot. It came in as a 6 and it rolled out as a 10.
Right.
And that's where you can puff your chest up and go, yeah.
Right.
We did that.
Right. That definitely is the good part of it. Definitely. So, I bet you that's how Elon Musk was feeling today. Did you see they launched that big rocket today?
I didn't, but I got here and you were telling me about it, and I'm super psyched about this.
Yeah, so they launched the Falcon Heavy, which is, I think they said, the most powerful rocket since the Saturn V that took the guys to the moon, and that was 45 years ago. So they launched this badass rocket today that's capable of taking people to the moon, or to Mars, I guess. It has enough power to, I think it was 140,000 pounds or some ridiculous payload.
Wow.
So, and what's cool about it is, I don't know if you follow the SpaceX stuff, they can make their stuff so much cheaper because they reuse the rockets. So normally the rockets peel off and they burn up in the atmosphere, or they come down, land in the ocean.
Right.
They land their shit. So there's a video today. You could watch the whole thing live. So the rocket takes off, and then the 2 side boosters fall off, and they come down and they land simultaneously upright on 2 pads, and they'll reuse those again. And then the main booster, when it broke off, like whatever the front part is, the capsule thing, it fell down, and there's a drone boat out in the ocean somewhere, and it's supposed to land on that. I guess that didn't go as planned, like it fell over or something or another.
But the fact that they have that kind of technology is killer.
And I read something today that rocket will cost $90 million, which seems bananas, but anybody else's rocket costs like $500 million to do that same thing.
So they did it for a fifth of the cost.
Right.
And will probably have better success.
Right.
Than, wow.
It was pretty insane. And then I was having one of those moments today where you're watching that live on your computer, and you're thinking, so there's cameras on the rocket. So this rocket blasts off, it's all, the smoke and the thrust and all that shit. And you're watching a camera from outer fucking space beam a picture back to your computer in real time.
Which is just, that in and of itself is just complete craziness.
Just bananas. And then the payload was a Tesla Roadster car, and it's got like a little space guy in it. And normally they put something they don't care about when they're testing these rockets, like bricks or steel or just something heavy to get up into outer space to give it load. But they put a Tesla Roadster, and they have this little space guy sitting there behind the wheel, driving it. And what's funny is on the dash where the radio is, it just says "Don't panic" on the thing.
Nice.
And it opens up, and that thing's headed to Mars. I guess it's going through a radiation field, some sort of asteroid belt or something for the next 6 hours. And if it makes it through that, they're going to light the rocket again and head it towards Mars, where it's just going to...
So they're going to send a Tesla Roadster to Mars.
Yep.
So there'll be a car there. So the first cat that gets to Mars is like, woohoo, I want a Tesla.
I got a Tesla.
Bitchin'.
Where do I charge this?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm never going to see the Earth again, but I got a Tesla.
Would you go to Mars knowing it's a one-way trip? Because that's pretty much what they're saying, the first people that go.
Yes.
It's a one-way trip.
I would absolutely go.
Like, we can get there. We can probably build a base and get life cracking, but you ain't coming back.
I mean, I would need a few things.
Just,
Um,
I'd like to take a few items.
yeah, just a few simple items. I'm going to need a woman.
Okay.
That's a gimme.
What if it was just dudes going?
Nope. And it better not be 5 guys and 1 chick either. That doesn't work either.
I'm willing to die up there, but not with a bunch of dudes.
No way. Not at a sausage party. Science, kiss my ass.
So you're gonna have to work that out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work that out. I'm gonna need enough gin and squirt.
Sure. See, I think they could send that up to you pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because they can send us more stuff.
But how long does it take to get there?
A long time. It's like, if I remember right, it's like 140,000 miles or some ridiculous thing.
Okay.
Between here and there.
So enough food and booze to get me started, and then send some more.
Like once a year, we need.
Yeah.
Every 6 months,
we need supplies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need some steaks and
Sure.
some obviously you'll have to like grow vegetation and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean I think
You'd go?
I think I'd go, man.
I
I'm
don't
all
know.
about the experiences.
I don't know that I'd go first. Like, let's get a McDonald's up there. And once there's like a McDonald's, I'm like, it's probably safe for me to
Taco
go.
Bell drive-through for that Tesla that I'm going to get when I get there. Then cool, man.
At that point, yeah, I'll give this a shot.
We're going to need
but
a Papa John's.
I don't want to be the first guy up there kicking around rocks and being like, shit, can I eat this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Man,
need
I
that.
could sure go for a Big Mac right now.
Yeah.
Damn it, why did I do this? Stupid trip to Mexico.
Just terrible idea.
I went to Mexico and I woke up on Mars.
Right. My favorite thing from the Tesla launch today was it is like a little bit of proof that the Earth isn't flat for all the flat earthers.
Oh, God.
Because their main thing on all the rocket pictures and space pictures is they never pan. So it's always a picture like of the astronaut working on the space shuttle or the space station, and you can see the Earth behind them. And they said they'll never pan and turn around the other way because why? You'll see the studio and the TV cameras.
Well, clearly
because
it's a giant conspiracy. Space travel's a giant conspiracy, John.
So there's all these cameras on that Tesla car as it rockets into outer space, and there's one forward into the darkness, and then there's 2 on the side that are like half dark and half the Earth, and then there's one behind where you can see the Earth from the back, and you're like, it seems pretty legit.
Listen, the Earth is round.
I don't know. I've been watching some videos. It's so crazy.
At what point do you wake up in the morning and go, the Earth is flat? Kyrie Irving, basketball player, NBA superstar, says the Earth is flat. Well, A, you're probably not too smart to begin with.
All right. Here's what I was watching one of these videos. So there's a super long one. I wish I could remember the name of it. Maybe I can find it on my YouTube channel while we're talking here. But it's like the be-all, end-all, and I wasted 2 hours of my life watching it.
That you're never going to get back. We were just talking earlier about how precious life is and not to take time for granted.
So after watching this, I was like, okay, I can understand why people believe this. For the same reason that you can get sucked into Scientology, this isn't that far out there. So there's one of these that's called Flat Earth Truce. And I wish I could find the guy's name. I don't see it here. It should come up in my history, but maybe even YouTube was like, you don't need to see this again, and has hit it from me.
Like you're wasting YouTube's time. They're like, no,
Right.
we're done with this, John. We're moving on.
But I can see, after watching it, I'm like, oh, I can see how people can definitely get sucked into this. But what's crazy about all their every single one of their points is related but not causing. So like, just like this. Well, they never pan in any of these shots because obviously they're in a studio.
Well, yeah.
Well, it's not proving they're in a studio. Like, you don't have a proof like, aha, here's the picture of them making this.
They're not thinking in mission control, hey, you know what? We better pan around just so people know that we're not in a television studio.
Hey, Mike, could you turn the camera to the absolute darkness for a little bit?
Yeah. just so people back home know that this isn't complete
This is
horse
real.
shit.
Right. There's nothing to see there.
Come on. Now, what I watched, the way I understand it, is that the Earth is flat. Mm-hmm. And there's an ice ring created in Antarctica that is holding everything together like a belt or an outer rim type of a thing.
Yeah, this theory finally made sense to me about an hour and a half into the video, because I had
Oh, it
that
only
same
took it that long.
Yes, where I was like, "Oh, I understand what they're saying," and they could have started in this place and shortened the video way up. The way that they think that the Earth looks or is if you were to take like an orange and peeled an orange from the bottom, and then so like if you were to take an orange and drew the world on an orange, so you had all the continents,
Okay.
all to scale, and Antarctica was on the bottom, we'll say, and then you were to take the peel and pull it out so it was completely flat and down. They're saying that if you could like pull that out so it didn't like come out in like splinters, but just like stretched.
Right.
They're saying Antarctica down there, when you pull it out, there would be ice all the way around. So that very bottom tip would be ice and it would come out. And they're saying that we don't actually fly around the globe. That's all trickery and a conspiracy that all the pilots are tricked to fly these arced routes. But that's what they're saying. Like, that's how there's an ice ring. So you pull all that up, then there's an ice ring all the way around, and it's flat. It's the same map, but it's flat. Like,
Well, you know what I have to say to that is if you did this, if you did that, well, if my aunt had balls, she would be my uncle.
right. And that's what I'm saying about.
We'll start there.
Right. And that's what I'm saying about all this stuff where it's well, if they would ever pan the camera, you would see that there's somebody.
Yeah,
studio.
having a Starbucks eating a Danish, right?
Right. But you're like, but they don't, because there isn't. Like, their whole arguments are these if arguments. Well, if you would do this, if you do that. And their argument for the ice wall is there was this explorer that went down there that said it's basically a continent the size of the United States that nobody's explored. And nobody lives there. Why? It's cold as balls. Nothing grows there. There's no food. There's no nothing. It's like impossible to survive there. So why would anybody make a city there? But their argument is because there's no cities there, everybody is trying to keep you from going there.
Well, clearly, it has nothing to do with the 8,000 degrees below zero.
Right.
If your skin is exposed for a half a second, it will flake
die.
off. Yeah.
Right. And if you need to get any medical attention, you're just a short 10-hour plane ride to anywhere. Like, and then they go on about, like, there's all these little factoids. Like, there's a whole bunch of coal there. How come we're not after that coal? All right, again, it's cold as balls. It's impossible to live there. Guess what? It's pretty impossible to work there, too. Oh, yeah. Then we have to haul it 10, 20 hours somewhere else by boat.
And you being a guy that you understand mechanics and heavy equipment and things like that, what is the freeze point for like hydraulic fluid? How are you going to mine that?
When it gets cold, everything gets exponentially harder to do.
Right. And the equipment's harder to run and you're breaking things. You're breaking way more things because metal will get brittle.
Right.
And in that kind of an environment, I wonder, do these people get up and, some people, I'm going to have a bowl of Cheerios. Well, I'm going to have a bowl of pot this morning. I'm going to pour my milk in a big bowl of weed and eat weed this morning to get my perspective straight because the earth is clearly flat.
It's so bananas. And it's so bananas.
But there's people that buy into it. And some of the people in the videos that I've watched, these are educated, legitimate people. You think, okay, you think flat earthers, the first thing you think is a bunch of crackpots wearing tinfoil hats so the government can't read their thoughts.
No, and then you start watching these and you're like, oh, these are like scientists and
PhDs,
college professors.
And really?
Right.
Like, at what point did your train car pop off the track? and
The ones that kill me are the ones that go on about how it's a gigantic, like, global New World Order conspiracy. So we don't find... This is the part that I was getting really a big kick out of last night. Was I watched the end of that video. I'm kind of like trying to remember some of it. And at the end of it, they don't want the populace to find out because the world would lose their mind if they found out they were on a flat earth that they couldn't escape. And I'm sitting there like,
Where are you gonna go?
I don't know if you fucking know this or not, but I right now can't leave the Earth.
Right.
Whether it's round or flat.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm here.
And
Like-
and two, where are you gonna go?
Right.
Okay, shoot me up into space, and I'm just gonna hang out because I don't want to be here anymore. Now everyone's felt like that,
Right.
but the reality of the situation is, where the fuck are you gonna go?
And that's what they're saying. Like they're keeping it a secret. This is a big global conspiracy because if the people find out, they can't get away. Chaos is going to ensue. And I'm like, we can't. We already can't.
And this is one of the many reasons that I'm on a blood pressure medication because of these. I would just like to understand what their headspace is that they can actually get behind. Are you so missing something that you I mean, everybody wants something to believe in. That's human nature. Be it your favorite sports team or your favorite rock band or your favorite whatever. Everybody wants something to believe in, okay? But how messed up are you that that's what you choose to believe in?
Right. And like I said, if you watch all through the video, I can see where people probably go, this makes a lot of sense. They have some proof. This is a possibility. Just like on the same vein of there's probably aliens. Maybe not.
I can't prove it, but I can't disprove it.
Right.
Okay. I'm pretty certain, and you know, my pop, my grandfather used to always say, only a fool is certain.
Right.
I'm pretty goddamn certain that the world is round.
Yeah, so in their whole thing, what they're saying is the Earth is flat. It's, I think they said 400 or 500 miles thick. There's a dome over the top of it, and there really isn't stars and a moon and all that stuff. That's like a big LED screen, and all of that is generated to make us think that there's something else out there. And it's just like,
Then why does my cable TV go out?
Right. Well, then the other great thing was they were quoting, like, if you use GPS and you track this, and it's like, isn't GPS completely working off satellites?
Yes.
That they say
DirecTV.
can't exist?
Right. DirecTV.
Right.
The Dish Network. Yeah, they're working off satellites. Communications, cell phones. Well, cell phones are towers, but sat radio that
Right.
is in use in the military. Tracking airplanes, you know, so that they don't mash into each other in the sky.
Right. Then another one was that when the planes in the southern hemisphere, when they're flying from like Southern America and they go out to ocean, they lose them on their tracking, and you don't see. You know that like those websites you can go to and watch the planes fly all over the
Right.
place. They lose them, and it's like, yeah, there's no satellites down there. There's fucking nothing there.
Right.
Like, why would you put a satellite there to broadcast TV to nobody?
Right. To a bunch of people that live in the jungle that don't have electricity
Right.
to have a TV.
And it's just, their arguments are like so, well, obviously, because of this. They take a leap that is causation, or is association, but not causation. You know what I mean? Like, there's an association here somehow that in Antarctica, there's no cities. Okay. Well, obviously, it's because it's the ice wall and it's the end of the earth and the government doesn't want you to know.
Well, yeah.
Not because it's cold as balls and everything dies there.
Right.
Like,
No, that couldn't possibly be
No.
it. It couldn't possibly be the fact that nothing can live there.
do you know
Nothing.
Do you know how hard it is to keep a secret among like 5 friends?
Yeah, you killed 4.
Yeah, let alone the entire world for
Yeah.
100 years or so.
Like who's that one guy that's like always like ready to crack, like
Right.
sweating constantly and smoking like 5 packs of cigarettes a day because he's so stressed out that he knows this secret, but he knows he can't tell anybody.
Right.
No, nobody's that strong.
And everybody in the White House is sitting around like, Jeff's gonna break.
Yeah.
I think Jeff's gonna let out about the
like-
the Earth isn't round.
You're talking into your sleeve. And Jeff's about to snap. Clear to shoot. I mean, come on, man.
It's so crazy.
I am completely, and a friend of mine turned me on to this. My friend Stephanie turned me on to this. She sends me these bizarre links all the time to just the most bizarre stuff, and I always get a kick out of it. And she sends me this flat earther stuff, and I'm sitting at my desk at work watching it when I probably should have been working.
Research.
It's research for the show, absolutely.
Right.
Because I am going to be talking about this on the show soon. As soon as I have enough information, because there's going to be somebody local that's listening that will call the show and go,
No
"You're
way, man."
wrong.
Right.
The Earth is flat, man." You know, it's like, look, go listen to some Pink Floyd and drink the Kool-Aid, man.
They're so sure, though. Is what kills me about it. They're so sure.
I will give them the fact that A, they're tenacious, and that's a good quality trait, and they believe it wholeheartedly. They believe it to be fact. And if you believe something hard enough, it's just like a person that is a habitual liar. Okay, a pathological liar believes the lie, therefore making it a truth to them.
Right.
Same premise, I think.
And like I said, I think they have enough quote unquote evidence that it just feels like it bolsters that opinion and feeling. I mean, at the end of the day, not to take any knock on any religion, you live and do what you want, but you're taking a giant leap of faith with any religion. You're reading a book going, oh, okay, all this stuff happened thousands of years ago. It's true.
I've often said, who's to say the guy that translated what we know as the Bible wasn't the village idiot?
Who knows?
He was the only guy that could write.
Right. And it's one of those things like even back when writing came about, writing was the devil. Like,
oh, absolutely.
We shouldn't write things down. That's ridiculous.
Why would you do that?
So who knows? You know what I mean? But I can see, so if you can get masses of people to believe anything about religion, like any aspect, not saying right or wrong, don't want to get in that whole discussion, but I don't see why it would be that hard with quote unquote pictures and video proof of something that sort of exists to get anybody to believe flat earth stuff, you know?
Spoiler alert. They call that a cult.
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there for, you know. I don't, and I should knock something that I don't fully understand, but I can't in my heart of hearts. I consider myself to be a moderately reasonable human being. I'm not setting the world on fire with my intelligence, but I consider myself to be of above average intelligence. I'm not a stupid man by any means. However,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to say I would pretty much bet everything I have, which isn't much, but I would pretty much bet everything I have that yeah, the Earth is round.
Well, and then the other thing, they were like more. They have this piece of evidence in this clue that nobody gets on an airplane in Australia and flies to South America. So
it's because you have to go through Atlanta because that's the hub.
Well, they all have to go somewhere else,
right?
And
it's called routing.
And what they're saying is, if you look at the flat Earth, you'd have to go all the way around here to get there, which is still the same even if it's round. It's
right. And
how that's a piece of evidence, I'm like,
no, dummies. It's called the plane can only hold so much gas.
And there's like laws about that. You have to be within 2 hours or an hour of an airport that you can land on if there's trouble. So they purposely take
it's routes
farther.
The routes are in place for everyone's safety.
Right. And then they're like, no, they just did that to
well, so we don't ruse.
So we don't catch on that there's a secret. And most pilots, they're not stupid by any means, but they've never even thought about this before. And you're like, I think if I was a pilot, I'd be like, oh, seriously, why the fuck can't we just go straight?
Right, and right, the closest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Bippity boppity, you're there. Mm-hmm. If I could drive straight lines everywhere, I'd be happy as a clam, man. Right. But I can't.
Oh, it's
and of course, Boeing is probably in on it. The aircraft manufacturers, McDonnell Douglas and Boeing and all these aircraft manufacturers, by only making the fuel capacity on airliners so much so that they have to land.
Now you're catching on.
Yeah, and they made Atlanta one of the big hubs so that they have to go to Atlanta because that's got to be some kind of vortex.
Of course. You're catching on now.
Oh, see, I'm so into this now.
There's so many people in on this, governments and...
Well, clearly the Earth is flat. We're solving the world's problems.
What I think is the real work on all this stuff is the dude that puts out these YouTube videos. I bet you that guy is making bank off of stupid people.
Yeah, he's smarter than everybody thinks he's an idiot, but...
Here's one, proving the Earth is flat, 10 million views. So that dude off that video probably doesn't have to work.
Yeah. So is he an idiot, or is he the idiot savant that he's got the hot tip?
Is the Earth actually flat? It's been up for 3 years, 19 million views. Dude's making bank off.
He's making
YouTube.
money. Yeah. he's making money, and he's laughing all the way to the bank. He's
Right.
going, this is all horseshit, but man, you people are dumb enough to believe it. I am happy to
Yes.
take those royalty checks.
The earth is round, and so are all these zeros in my bank account.
Yes,
Like-
absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh,
my-
yeah. All these ones, millions of views, 270,000 views. It's just insane. I'm sure these guys are just making bank.
I don't understand. I don't have a grasp on how getting paid from YouTube works.
So the way it works is you can just opt in if you have a popular video.
Okay.
And there's a couple different, like when you go to YouTube, you know how like sometimes you have to watch those videos, you can skip it after 3 seconds
Right.
or whatever. So you can just opt in, and every time that happens, you get paid 30 cents or whatever the number is, depending on the demographic that you're in.
Okay.
So if you were to get
I'm getting my calculator app going here.
10 million views and you got 30 cents a view, I'm not real good at math, but I'm going to guess that's about $3 million.
That is $3 million, sir, at 30 cents a view.
Right. Over the course of 3 views. And let's just say it's 10 cents a view. That's $1 million. Let's say it's 5 cents a view.
$1 million for spewing some gibberish into your iPhone.
Right.
And working with some
And-
software.
And all these guys on these videos also look sketchy as fuck.
Oh, they're
So,
greasy.
Do you
Yeah.
suppose any of these guys were like, all right, I could make 2 cents a view and pull in like, a couple 100,000 a year off this, but I'm not going to because I just want to get the science out there because I'm a purist. Nope.
right.
Sign me up.
Flat Earthers. Flat Earth Society.
Oh yeah.
Images. Let's see some of these people. Oh, it's all just logos.
There's lots of sunglasses I noticed in the community too. They're big sunglass wearers.
You know, these people remind me, and I love that that Ancient Aliens guy with the whacked out hair.
Yeah.
But these people are probably still living in their mother's basement.
Dude, if you're knocking down $500,000 a year off YouTube videos, you can ball pretty hard. You probably can have a pretty nice place.
Yeah, but why if you can live free at your mom's house?
I'm just saying they're balling.
Here's a question you need to ask yourself. What does Morgan Freeman think about all this horse shit? Because his voice is soothing to me. If Morgan Freeman says it's true, I'm inclined to believe that it's true.
Well, let me Google if Morgan Freeman has a opinion on this. Flat Earth. Oh, Morgan Freeman and the Truth About Gravity. He gets into some gravity talk.
He's a pretty smart guy. But I don't think and he's a pretty open-minded guy too. He's done a lot of shows about the world and the cultures, the different cultures of the world, and is a very well-traveled, well-learned human being. He knows some shit when it comes down to.
But what's weird about that is, and this is a very I'm going to crack into this goodness you brought me here.
Absolutely. I come bearing gifts. I always come with gifts, man.
And at the end of this, I'll be spewing why flat Earth is really a real thing.
And you'll have me convinced of
She
it.
drinks away. But just like you were saying right there, I believe Morgan Freeman because an actor that seems smart says so.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I know. And
It's
how
so weird.
stupid do I feel though for saying that? But his voice.
Ooh, that's tasty.
You like that? That's smooth right there, my friend. Yeah, that is smooth.
Oh, that's delicious, sir.
I can't believe in my heart of hearts, and I'm that guy that I like to believe in the underdog, and I'm always pulling for the little guy. And I mean, I'm a Philadelphia Flyers hockey fan, for Christ's sake. I'm always rooting for the underdog. But I can't get behind this.
Well, with any conspiracy theory, I always go directly to what's the end game.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's just say you're right. The Earth is flat. Why? What's the end game?
Right. What could the government possibly, or the world government? So would it be the UN
Oh, yeah,
or the world governments? it's a big conglomeration, and you've got Dr. Evil at the head of the thing, what do they possibly have to gain by setting up this massive LED dome? Hey, that shit costs money. I got an LED TV in my living room.
Well,
it costs me a lot of money.
Well, hang on. We didn't set it up.
Oh.
Somebody else, the higher power, set this up. So what they're saying is some sort of greater than us force has built this world as some sort of little goofy experiment. Oh yeah, if you find the 2-hour documentary,
I'm gonna have to watch it now.
flip it open and strap in, and then get a couple drinks, and you're gonna laugh and be like, "What?"
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll pee your pants.
But yeah, they break down all these little things with these half explanations. But yeah, there's some greater. So they started out.
So we're being watched by some people. We're basically a snow globe, is what it comes down to.
Exactly.
And we're being watched by some giant people, and we're ants in this, and just bit parts in this.
Yep.
This experiment,
And
as it were.
There was a first world that they shook up because we were here first. And the humans were on this simulation or whatever this thing is now, and excuse me. There wasn't any strife in the world. Everybody had it pretty easy. There wasn't any war. So then and it was boring. Must be it wasn't a real good show for them to watch.
Yeah.
And through all this, they're quoting the Truman Show, by the way, as some of their scientific.
Well, of course, because that is a very, very scientific movie.
Right.
I mean, that's totally believable.
Right. So they shook it up. So people had strife and they didn't get along, and there was different races. So this person didn't like this person, and there was these problems. And then there was a lot of war, but there was also a lot of art and things that happened as well. So they just let this thing roll. And I pretty much summed up 5 minutes of the video with that statement that sounds like I just said the dumbest thing in the whole wide world, with scenes of the Truman Show cut in.
I'm rarely am I speechless, sir.
Yeah.
I make my money with my mouth. I make my money with my thoughts and my opinions.
I'm trying to think of some of the other goodness in there. It's stuff that they say that's so like immediately you can just Google and be like, no, you're wrong. So one of the things was
that's part of the conspiracy, though. They post it on the internet, see, to disprove it, just to make you look bad.
Well,
people got time for that.
One of the things that they said was after we went to the moon, because we didn't do that. That was
staged.
People were trying to figure out a way to make us believe that we're not on a flat Earth stuck in this dome because we'd lose our fucking mind. Obviously, we'd have to go to the moon so everybody has a little peace on Earth that they're not trapped here. And you're like,
'cause that's clearly what makes me sleep well at night.
Right.
Knowing that, damn it all, we went to the moon, and as long as I know that, I'm okay.
And you know what one of the pieces of proof was? That there's been no movies about the moon all the way from 1969 till the Tom Hanks, whatever, the Apollo 13 movie.
Maybe because it's boring.
And I'm like, really? Like, that seems like something that somebody would make a movie, at least a couple about. Yeah, you Google it, there's been like tons of them. Not like a crazy amount, but like 20 some. But there's only so much you can do there.
Like, yeah, but okay, so do I want to watch a movie about some dudes going to the moon and some shit on their shit breaking? I watched Lost in Space, the TV show, when I was a kid.
Right.
They were lost in space.
Right.
Okay? Or do I want to watch a movie where stuff blows up?
Right.
I want to watch a movie where stuff blows up.
Oh, we went to the moon and went back. It'd be like a movie about going to the corner store. We went to the corner store and came back.
Right.
Did you find there? That was really nothing.
So I just paid $12 to see you go to the corner store.
It's not a good story.
I am not a happy camper right now. And I've sat through some movies like that where you're at the end of it, you're like,
what?
Wow, I totally want my money back.
Yeah, I got ripped off for sure.
Yeah, like The Village was one of them. So we're living in, in an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Funny you should bring that up. That was some of their scientific proof.
The Village.
Yeah, they brought that up because...
What, that was the biggest piece of shit that Casey Smith has ever sat through?
It's pretty bad. But they brought The Village up because what they said was, in a few generations, you would just believe whatever they told you, that you're living in a whatever era town that was in Pennsylvania. You're not in modern times, and the kids would have kids, and then they would tell the kids that they're living...
So you're living folklore.
In this primitive... That would be your world.
Yeah, they're downstate. They're called the Amish.
Right. But
Come on.
oh, when you watch
And even they're driving Cadillacs now.
when you watch the video, you're just like, oh, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. That's just wrong. That's a really big stretch.
I mean, listen, do I believe there's conspiracy that goes on in this world? Absolutely. There's absolutely conspiracy that goes on.
Have you watched what's the Netflix with Kevin Spacey show?
Oh, the one where he's the president?
Yeah, you watch that?
I have not. No.
All right. So I never was super conspiracy, but after watching that, you're like, I bet you that shit happens. Like there's a lot of arm twisting and.
There's a reason that when the president goes into office, he has color in his hair, and when he comes out, that shit is white.
Right.
Even Donald Trump, after 1 year and 2 weeks he's been in office, he looks like shit, man.
Right.
He looks rough. I think that they show them, they take him downstairs, and they go, all right, look, man. So you're the president. Yeah, congratulations, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. A, you don't have any real power. We'll start there. B, watch this. And it scares the shit out of them, and their hair just turns white.
I think I go the other way, where as from running a business. So when you run a business, you have to be like HR in a smaller business. You have to be HR, you have to be marketing, you have to be product development, you have to be customer service, you have to be accounting, you have to be all these different things. Fucking impossible to do a good job at
Very true.
all of it. You're lucky if you're good at one of them. And it's usually the one reason you started a business for that you probably should have just went to work for somebody else doing that, and you would have been a lot happier. So now you're the president. I don't know why anybody run for this job. And you're in charge of the healthcare for the nation, the defense, the how many monuments stay open, the budget, the
How do you sleep at
click,
night?
click, click. And you're like, what? Over the entire country? It's just like impossible job to even get your head around.
And then you put people in place to handle these things, and those people that you've put in place can't handle these things without this checklist of people signing off.
Right.
When, I mean, upshot of you being a small business owner, okay, so if Billy screws up, you can shit can Billy. You can't shit can the Senate.
No, you kind of have to figure out how to get
You got to work around them.
Yeah.
Or with them. Preferably with them, but around them. And I do, again, I believe there's conspiracy that goes on on this planet.
If you watch, I wish I remember the name of that goddamn show. But if you watch that show, you see how they kind of twist people a little bit. And so you're banging so-and-so. We found out about it. Hey, either vote this way or we're going to release this to the press. And all right, that's completely possible. Like that's a real thing. Or you ran for the seat on this, but you secretly did this on the side. We're going to expose that.
House of Cards.
House of Cards, right?
Well, and you know, and I listen to a lot of talk radio, and I've listened to politicians, former politicians actually, say that when you get to Washington as like a junior senator, there's the elders that sit you down and go, look, dude. You want to be on the good committees? You want to get some stuff done? Mm-hmm. You got to play ball. Play ball, or we're going to run you out of town.
Right.
Straight away. That's the way it is. And I would love to run for political office, and my platform would be, look, I'm probably going to get corrupt.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know how you wouldn't.
There's a really, really good chance that I'm going to get corrupt. That being said, I'll still do the best job I can do for the people of the state of Pennsylvania or wherever the state I'm in. But there's because you have to play ball like anything else. You have to play ball. You have to play ball with your distributors.
Right. Well, that's what again, this getting older and seeing how life works things. So I could be a dick and be like, I'm not doing that anymore, but I'm not going to be around tomorrow.
Yeah.
But at some point you have to go, all right, well, I'll let that slide a little so I can keep doing what I want to do.
And not only are you not going to be around, but they're going to hand your ass to you in your hat.
Right.
Your life is going to be ruined. Your family's going to be ruined. You're going to have nothing to go back to. Your constituents in your home state, they're going to spin this so much. You are going to look like just the biggest slime ball on the planet. And damage control, and I've had to do damage control for myself from those dick ears we spoke about like an hour ago. But and there was a point where I was really surprised I had any friends left, But you have to do that damage control. But it would be in such epic proportion the damage that they could do to you if they choose to.
Right.
I mean, we're seeing it now with this the Steele dossier, and
I don't know what that is.
The FISA warrants. And,
Oh yeah.
I guess the Democrats bought, the Clintons bought a dossier from this guy that was made up of just a bunch of random shit that he says he found. I'm so fed up with the whole thing.
It's so hard to follow.
People are convinced that they're going to impeach Donald Trump. Listen, folks, and if you're listening to this, I don't care what your political affiliation is, okay? But here's something you need to remember. A, you need high crimes and misdemeanors to impeach a president. Okay, we'll start there. B, if they impeach Donald Trump, Mike Pence is the president. C, if they get rid of Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell is the president. Hillary Clinton's not coming in the op. They're not going to do a do-over.
Right.
So that the right candidate, air quotes, can get into the White House. That's not going to happen.
Very little. One of the things I thought was really weird in the past month or so was the whole Oprah could be president thing.
Anybody can be president.
Well, there was a serious... I thought it was a joke at first because it was one of the award shows. She came out. She gave a great speech. She's a good public speaker. And she comes out and then people are like, Oprah for president. And then she's like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about it. And I'm like, all right, wait. Like, we're trying this right now. Like,
yeah.
We got a guy that came, and I don't know. At least he was a business guy. Like, Oprah, I don't think that's going to work.
I will give her this. She's built an empire, but she hasn't done it alone.
Right.
And she's done it off the backs of other people, too.
And I think it goes back to that whole thing where this is... I'm in love with this notion that I'm going to get in there and make a change and things are going to be different. But when I get in there, I'm going to get taken down to that basement and be like, all right, so this is the shit that's really going on. And this
Easy way, hard way, man.
Right.
It's funny because that's like you raise your kids in that manner. Look, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. I got all day. Like, that's the way my folks were with us,
This is going to happen regardless.
Yeah. You're not stopping this. You're going to clean your room.
Right.
It can happen now or it can happen later. I'm cool either way. I'm going golfing, and whether your room is clean or not, when I get back, that's on you.
Right.
But it's still going to get done.
Right. It's not affecting my life one way or another.
Right. And I think that there's this like really this bizarre power vacuum going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing I think is we got so tired of hearing, and we still get tired of hearing this wishy-washy. And I think things like podcasts and all the media that's out there right now, where we're getting beyond this 13-second soundbite polished bullshit. You want to hear what somebody actually thinks. You don't want to hear this Today Show. Hey, so Bob, I hear you want to change the world. Yeah, I think if we had healthcare, blah, blah, blah. And
we're going to break.
And you're like, well, that doesn't really
tell
me anything.
And it's a lot of double talking and talking in circles. And I think that people in high political positions don't give the American people enough credit for being smart. We're not idiots. Mm-mm. We can take it. Right. People walk in on their wives cheating with their best friend every day somewhere. Some guy walked in or some woman walked in with their significant other putting it to their best friend. Mm-hmm. That has got to be probably one of the worst things that you can deal with.
That's probably worse than any political news you could get.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, you would be devastated.
And people can get through that.
Right. Yeah. But you would get through it because why? Because you live to fight another day.
Right.
So I believe that we can handle it. I don't know if we're ready to handle the flat Earth conspiracy.
Well, I mean, it's inevitable. It's obviously flat.
I'm just going to have to... I don't know. I'm just not ready to give in yet.
Could you imagine if we go home tonight and turn the TV and Trump's on TV? So, I got some news. The Earth's flat, guys.
Listen. It's going to be great.
Right.
It's going to be great. You're going to love it. I promise.
Things won't roll off stuff anymore now that we know it's flat.
Yeah. It's... Oh, my gosh. I just... They don't give us enough credit as adults and citizens to be able to handle what the truth is, and you're absolutely right. You see the truth 10, 12, 15 seconds at a time. And I edit every day. That's part of my job. That's one of the things that I do. I produce commercials. I edit commercials. There's a guy that I work with that's an editing genius. He can edit a syllable.
Right.
So you're editing what you want in. And obviously, because the complete truth doesn't sell advertising. The complete truth doesn't sell newspapers.
And
good news doesn't sell.
And the other thing, especially when you're talking, that's kind of weird, is you don't get, especially with sound bites and speeches and even printed words sometimes, like I could say something and think like, oh, I'm thinking this, and say it, and then somebody else reads it or hears that little bit and goes, what? Like that doesn't sound right. And then, but you don't have the chance for somebody to go, wait, that doesn't, no, I didn't mean it like that.
Right.
What I meant was
is a perfect example.
Oh, yeah.
You could send a text message to someone, and I can send you a text message and go, damn it, John, I'm mad at you.
Right.
But I'm sitting here in front of you going, John, come on, man. This is why I'm pissed off.
Right.
And
then you have the chance to go, no, I didn't. No, you
right, and
you
you work it out.
misunderstood. Right. Whereas I feel like we get, and I think that's one of the problems right now, is anything that is a little bit longer form, there's so much context missing from a lot of it. I mean, you could take 1,000 sentences out of probably just this conversation. Like this conversation, I bet there's a couple sentences you could peel out and make it a soundbite and go, this is the worst human in the world.
Absolutely.
But if you heard the sentence before it, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And
clearly.
And now we're conditioned in such a way for that we don't want to listen to the 15 minutes prior
Who has time?
to the 15-second soundbite.
Right. Who has time? Like everybody's busy.
Yeah.
Well, the other one that gets me is you'll be talking to friends, you'll be at a party or something, and they'll start talking politics or healthcare or whatever, and they'll start talking about things, and I end up on the side of if I see a headline, I have to read the whole article and know about it. Like I'm
absolutely
super curious about shit, but you'll hear them say something and you're like, well, did you read the article? Well, not really. I just kind of read the title, and you're like, well, that's not, the title's kind of misleading.
Yeah,
once you read down
so
through
right now
it,
you're talking out your ass because
it's completely different. But the amount of people that just read a title or see a little blurb, they don't have time to sit there and read a half-hour article about and make sense of it and decide whether it's real or not real. Or
yeah, because God forbid you exercise the most important organ in your body, your brain.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
I
don't even think it's that. I think it's you're busy. Like, so you pick up your phone while you're taking a shit, while your kid's eating their dinner before you have to read them a story and do their homework and put them to bed. Oh, this happened? Oh, that sounds fucked up. And then...
Right. Out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. You forget about it.
You never really...
And the news cycle is so rapid.
It's crazy.
It's so fast. And something that I saw yesterday, today, it's long gone, and it's so far buried in a Facebook feed or in an ABC News feed. It's buried so far in the feed that you just don't have the time to go and dig back through the feed to find it, to finish it.
Right.
I find myself, I leave notes for myself. I'll write, I keep a pad next to, on the coffee table. I keep a pad on my nightstand. I keep several pads on my desk because, I can't remember shit because I'm getting old. But I also write things down. I'll see something and want to read it. So I'll write it down in what I believe to be like a keyword so I could Google it later.
Right.
And try to go back to it. Sometimes I make it back to it. Sometimes I don't. But we're conditioned as a people, as a society, for those 12 to 15 seconds. If CNN is putting it out, then that has to be credible.
Right.
That must be all we need to know is that 15 seconds because CNN said it.
I think it comes from sort of the newspaper mentality that we all have. So you wouldn't see anything on the front page of the newspaper in a big headline that you couldn't more or less believe was 100% true. For the most part, you see something like, oh, so-and-so was busted in a drug raid. Oh, well, geez. You wouldn't have to read the article to know the rest of it.
Right.
The Eagles won the Super Bowl last night. All right, cool. Like, I don't really have to read the article. The Eagles won. Cool. Yeah. I can just move on with my life. I don't have to sit here and read every word of the paper. And I feel like we've taken that mentality and clunked it into the internet. and we're just getting shit thrown at us on a regular basis, and we're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
the Earth is flat.
There is so much coming at you from so many different directions, from Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Google and all these news feeds that you didn't even know that you signed up for, but because you clicked on a page, it's a preference now. So now you're getting these news feeds from Iraqistan
Right.
that you do. What?
Right.
How does this even happen?
And then when you realize, the other thing that kills me is when you realize how many of these quote unquote news articles are opinion pieces.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
you
yeah.
read through this and you're like, wait, this isn't like a factual, this is like
This is
somebody's
your
opinion.
Yeah. There's a local sports writer, and I won't give him the dignity of saying his name, but loves to write op pieces.
Which I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as it's not put out as this is exactly what happened.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But if you're going to write a factual piece, write a factual piece.
Right.
Don't portray yourself as a reporter, but then just stick your opinions out there.
Right.
That's not reporting. You're not reporting on fact. You're taking fact, you're processing it through your brain, through your filtration, and then out comes what you believe it to be.
Right.
That's not
And,
fact.
what it seems like news should be is the chair is black. The end. It shouldn't be, the chair is a color of black. I really think it should have been red.
Right.
Or the chair is a kind of a racist color.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, this chair is on The View.
Right.
Right? They're talking about the chair on The View. Well, it's clearly racist because you called the chair black, John Anderson.
And you're like,
you're a racist.
No, it's just a
No,
just
it's a color.
It's just a black chair.
It's
You know?
in Spanish, black is they call it negro. Okay, so does that make everybody that speaks Spanish and using that to describe the color black because it's affiliated with
Right.
a race of people? So does that make everyone in South America racist?
And suddenly you just and then if you saw that headline, so whatever that headline is that you said this and not read the rest of the article and go, wait, they were just describing a chair?
Yeah, exactly. Next thing you know, there's people blocking off freeways.
Right.
Everybody's pissed off at this inanimate object, and I'm clearly looking at a chair right now, and okay, my eyes aren't great, but I do see a black chair.
Right. And you were just merely stating there's a black chair.
Right.
And
then there's people that could come out on a beautiful spring day and go, the sky's blue. And then there's some jackwagon that's go, the sky is not blue, that's your opinion.
Right.
Nope. Sky's
That's
blue.
what the government wants us to see when they seed it with chemicals, man.
That's right. It's
making
the
it blue.
LED change.
Right.
It's because the LED bubble that we live in is on a timer.
Right. Well, yeah.
Either that or the diabolical people that are running this ass hattery experiment at nighttime they put a dark shroud over the snow globe that we call our life, our Earth. So when they put it's darkness, when they're done for the day,
Yep.
they put
Shut
the
it
blanket
down.
over.
But just half of the world,
Yeah.
because the other half has to be daylight.
Yeah. Come on, man. Come on. Flat earthers, really? Listen, somebody listening to this, please come try to convince us. Mm-hmm. Come sit with us and please come with fact and bring your A game because, well, nothing else is acceptable. You bring your A game and convince us that the world is flat. Please.
And you'll see angry people that will say, well, you're obviously stupid. The earth is flat. But nobody will actually go, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to do my research.
Let me break this down for you.
Yeah, let me cut this up into pieces that are easily digestible. Which, you throw a lot of information at people, and it just becomes like eventually you only hear white noise. It's like when like your significant other's ragging on you about something, or your parents are ragging on you about something. God damn it, John, you're late again. Eventually, it just gets white noise.
Right.
You don't hear it.
Right.
So cut it up into palatable pieces that are easily digestible through the mind, and let's talk about it. But using the Truman Show,
Dude, when you watch this, you're gonna be like, why are they showing movie clips all the time?
Really, it's a movie.
I wish I could remember the guy's name. I want to say it's Herman or something like that.
You're
but
telling me that there's a cat named Willy Wonka that's got a chocolate factory
I'm
too?
surprised Willy Wonka wasn't somehow in there, but it's
Well, it's
a piece of
the
work.
chocolate river is clearly it flows this way because
Clearly.
the Earth is flat.
Oh, it's
There would be no Oompa Loompas if the Earth was round, John. It's the great Oompa Loompa conspiracy.
It could be the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
And it's
so.
2 hours of your life, and it's going to be 2 hours of my life that we're never going to get back. But damn it, we're going to laugh about it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed 2 hours of this, and I am thinking, oh wow, like somebody not only produced this, so somebody spent the time to do a relatively decent job producing this. It's professional, but 10 million dummies. Well, maybe 5 million dummies, and 5 million people are like, what?
Yeah, like I have to watch this because, well, I have to watch it.
Right.
It's like a car crash.
Oh, it's crazy.
Like you don't want to look, but you kind of like,
I have to.
oh God, I have to look. I have to do
and
it.
that's what I was saying was the beauty of these guys. If their goal is to make money on YouTube, they capture in the people that believe the Earth is flat, and then all the people are like we are right now, like what are
Right.
these people talking about? And then you watch the video, and you're like, oh,
And unfortunately, our curiosity gives them credence,
right.
which is a crazy like vicious cycle.
And they're making money.
And they're making money because we're curious, and we call bullshit, and they're making money.
Right, doesn't matter. As long as
think-
you watch it, it doesn't matter.
I think we're in the wrong business, buddy.
We need to make some. We need to come up with some outlandish
Yeah.
something, and then get some movie.
Get somebody
clips
that can edit, video edit, and bippity boppity. I watched a 20-minute video the other day on how the NFL season was rigged for the Patriots, and I had to share it on my Facebook page because it made me laugh. And there were some people that actually, legitimately, were pissed off about it. Mm-hmm. I'm just like,
Well,
it's a joke, man. Clearly.
What I love about that kind of stuff is if you share something on Facebook, like you see something, you're like, this satire, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then people are like, this is real. Like,
Dude, that's not funny.
yeah, right on, man. I was been thinking this all along. And then you're like, are you?
How are we even friends?
Are you? Well, then you're like, are you like being ironic back, like right now? Like,
Yeah.
Are you trying to be in? Like, are you dumb?
And then you wonder, God, how are we friends? Yeah. This guy was in my wedding. Holy shit. What was I thinking? Oh. But in this video, and the guy through video editing, he made some really compelling points, though. That was the thing about it. He made some very compelling arguments on the way, some touchdowns were called back and some were let go. But again, there's those 10-second snippets.
But again, there's like relative, like this happened, so it could mean this.
Right.
But I don't have the recording between Belichick and the refs.
Right.
All right, yeah, we're going to send you over that other mill this week and make sure this goes our way.
You
never find that stuff,
I can't prove it, but you can't disprove it. So it goes in that DMZ.
Right.
It's like the 38th parallel between truth and bullshit.
Right.
And there's a room there, and there's a table and a chair on either side.
Right.
Just like at the 38th parallel. And somewhere in there is the truth. But if I can't prove it and you can't disprove it, then we're at
must be
what we call a Mexican standoff.
Right. So that's life.
So the Earth is flat. I am going to watch this video, man, and I want to come back, John. I want to come back, man. and I want to get into this some more when I'm a little.
So what we need to do is we need to find somebody who's whole hog into this, because there has to be somebody around here that's 100%
I am going to put the Facebook feelers out because that's the best way to attract the person that we're going to need for this.
And we need somebody that's deep in this that can break it down for us.
Yeah.
Because maybe we're just missing some crucial points.
We could be misinformed.
Right.
We sometimes drink to excess.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Most times.
Right, because why do it if you're going to do it half-assed?
Right.
So maybe there's something wrong with us. Maybe there's something that we're just not getting. I hate to be wrong, okay?
And I'm just looking at a day in our future where I'm just sitting around flipped the fuck out because the Earth is flat after this guy breaks it down for us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
And then
worried
what?
about.
Then what
I
do
know,
we do?
right? I'm not going to be able to leave this place once I find out there's an ice wall around.
Yeah, like then what? Yeah, how do you, how do we go on once we know the truth? And just like the X-Files says, the truth is out there.
It is. We just got to find that guy.
So is the bullshit, though, too.
Yeah, so much bullshit.
Oh, God, this is a blast.
Yeah, man. I had a great time. We're gonna have to find that guy. You're gonna have to watch that video, and then we're gonna have to revisit this again in the future.
I am on the search. I'm
All right.
on this. I'm gonna put the Facebook feelers out tonight, and I will keep you tagged in everything
Perfect.
so that we can we can get this. We need to get this figured out.
There's got to be an expert, a
Yeah.
local expert, a
Yeah,
local flat Earth expert.
We need answers.
All right.
All right, man.
Well, hey, good times.
Thank you very much for having me, sir.
Yeah, anytime, man. We'll do this again.
Absolutely.
See ya.
All right.